Good morning, everyone. Today, we are celebrating the International Tigers Day, 29th of July. We are so fortunate in India to have tiger as one of the national animals of India. We are very proud that, the India has come a long way where the tiger population is concerned. We know that when we look after the tiger, actually, we are looking after the entire ecosystems. And on this auspicious occasion, we're very happy to have Dr. Sarita Subramaniam with us. Welcome, Sarita. It's absolutely a pleasure to have you. Yeah. Sarita is actually a dental surgeon and a wildlife enthusiast. She has co-founded an organization by the name of Earth Brigade Foundation, which is a non-profit, and the primary focus for the organization is wildlife conservation. And the Earth Brigade main focus is facilitating water supply in the Indian forest through the solar pump installations. I mean, that's a brilliant, brilliant initiative, Sarita. I congratulate you for this initiative. And the organization also works for women empowerment and assists local forest communities. And through this initiative, what Sarita is actually trying to do is address the human animal wildlife conflict. So welcome, Sarita. It's absolutely a pleasure. So tell us, Sarita, how is it that, you are a dentist, and how did you transition from a dentist to coming into the wildlife more? It's most exciting, I know, but how did you really transition into this?
Thank you so much, Ritu, and to TOFT Tigers for having me on this auspicious occasion of International Tigers Day. Thanks a lot. As you mentioned, I'm a dentist. I'm a practicing dentist for the last 35 years. My husband and I, we have a practice in Mumbai. But we are also avid bird watchers. We love also going to different tiger parks. And over the last few decades, we have realized that, after seeing so many tigers, so many birds, and interacting with so many people, we realized that it's time to give back. So on our own, my husband and I would do something on a very, very basic level. But early 2000, I think we used to donate solar lamps to communities around Corbett Tiger Reserve in Kutch, in Assam. From our part, this is all we could do. But we realized that, yes, we have to give back. And so many Facebook likes and Instagram likes, I think we owe it to Mother Nature to, fulfill our duties. And I think the progress was not like one day I was a dentist and the next day I was a wildlife conservationist. I think it was very organic. And, as you get sensitized to the challenges and issues the wildlife face, you obviously want to do something about it. I was very firm that I wanted to have a very direct approach in wildlife conservation. I felt that if I want to help wildlife, I have to directly help wildlife. I didn't subscribe fully to the narrative that you support the local stakeholders and thereby the indirect effect on wildlife conservation will happen because of the lack of negativity or resentment amongst humans. My little understanding of human nature was that you can never ever satisfy human greed. Human need we can satisfy, but greed, no. And we are a very greedy species, so to say. We garner all the resources only for ourselves. So I wanted to have a direct benefit. And for me, providing water was the very basic thing that I could do. So I said, let me go ground up. Let me first provide water, what is needed inside the forest. And that's how I think we decided to get into wildlife conservation.
So, Sarita, so tell me, how is it that your medical background has helped you in conservation?
I think as a dentist, we have to, I am more empathetic and we have to be more compassionate towards people. And, so compassion and empathy comes easily to medical professionals. That's what I would believe. And that also the fact that I would always go to the root of the problem. Why is this problem there? Not just what I see why is human wildlife conflict there? I want to go to the root of the problem and understand that, it is because there's no water. Because there's no water, the animals are going outside the forest for food and water, and thereby the conflict happens. So the medical background actually makes me also more rational, and also more professional to find a long lasting solution. I can't keep fighting PILs to stop, let's say, tiger killings. I realize I have to go to the root of the problem. And that's
And
how
do
we
your
started.
bit. And do your bit,
Yes,
kind of.
yeah. And as I think I would urge more professionals to come into the field. So my experience last few years is that I found a lot of medical doctors coming into the IFS cadre. That is
Really?
very, very, yeah, that's very
Really? I
exciting
didn't
for
know
me.
that. Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
that's very exciting for me, because I feel they come with that compassion and a professional training needed to solve challenges that they face in a very, very scientific manner,
Yeah.
with the heart in the right place.
How nice. That's really wonderful. Great. Absolutely great
Thank
to
you.
hear that. Yeah. So your primary focus was animals. I mean,
Yeah.
animals that,
Yes.
but
Yes.
how did you find that there was a gap of water? I mean, was there any incident which happened, or did you have any kind of an observation that made you focus to have water within the forests? What what is how does this idea come into you?
Yeah.
Is what I'd like
Yeah.
to know. Hmm.
Yeah. Since we have been going to these forested areas, the tiger safaris, even I remember early 1997 and all, I have seen water tankers come into the forest in summer to provide, fill the saucers or the man-made water tanks or the natural water bodies. I've seen it. A little later, I started observing that there were solar installations. I assumed that it was for electricity only for the anti-poaching camps, but soon I learned that no, it also provides water for wild animals. But I had never seen anything other than the installation, because all the pipeline was underground. I would only see a water body, which is
Hmm.
what happens to most people even now when they go to the forest. They don't really understand that the water scarcity is huge inside the forest. It's like, we are not addressing the elephant in the room. There is a huge
Hmm.
water scarcity. The forest department is struggling to do their own bit, but it is woefully inadequate because the need is so acute. And for me, the tipping point, I would say, was in 2017 May, when I saw a sub-adult tigress. She was from Mukhi in Kana Tiger Reserve. She was Mahavir's daughter. She came to a small puddle to drink water during the evening safari. And there was
Okay.
barely enough water for her to drink. She drank that and she tried to sit in the puddle too. That is what most tigers do to regulate their body temperature. So she sat there, and I started wondering, there's hardly any water for her to drink or sit. If she, the majestic tiger, is facing this scarcity, what happens to all the lesser animals around in the forest? What do they do for managing getting water in summer? And I came back. This was a Wednesday. I think this was a Tuesday. Wednesday, we returned back to Bombay. Thursday, I asked a few family and friends. I want to do a solar installation because I don't believe in the polluting water tanker method for delivery of water. That
Hmm.
uses carbon fuel, not very energy efficient, or gives out a lot of carbon emission. That was not the route I wanted to take. I wanted a more sustainable and renewable form of energy to provide water. But the crux was that it's capital intensive. It back then it was 4-5 lakhs, and I just came out on Thursday and told a few friends and family that I want to collect 4 lakhs to do this one solar installation in Kana Tiger Reserve. Believe it or not, Ritu, by Sunday, friends had pledged that money to me. And
Wow.
I realized I can't collect the funds because it would go into my personal account, which I didn't want. So my husband and I decided that we should form not for profit, an NGO. I took almost a year. By July 2017, we finally formed the NGO. It's called Earth Brigade Foundation. And but our first solar installation was not in Kana. The borewell yet had to be done in the forest. So our
Hmm.
first solar installation was in Hulikatte in Bandipur Tiger Reserve in Karnataka. But that time we didn't do just one, we did three at a go. I had
Oh,
collected
that's
more funds.
how fantastic is
Yeah,
that? You know, when
yeah, it was.
I
It
mean, you
was
had an
amazing.
awakening call and the environment around you
Yeah.
supported you for that. So I think
Yes.
it's just it was destined to be that you play a role in this. I
Yes.
think that's
Yes.
really fantastic. But tell me one thing, I mean, how does installing a solar pump really helps in conservation? I mean, specifically that you say that, you know, it helps in human wildlife conflict. So can you explain us the science behind this and what is the thought process behind it?
Yeah. So what happens is during summer, our Indian summer is very unbearable, as we all know. The
Mm,
water table inside the forest last few decades is depleting quite drastically, and also the superficial groundwater that would hold all the water body water from the monsoon fed water, that gets dried up very fast. So most people don't know this, that even many parts of our forest which look evergreen also have drier parts which don't have which either have scanty rainfall or don't have adequate rainfall to allow the water to remain on the surface for the animals to drink. Also, because we humans are extracting so much groundwater for our own personal needs, whether it is agriculture, whether it is the food revolution, or whether it is settlements, infrastructure, industries, all of this is over extracting water around the forest. Now that
mm,
has made the aquifers also inside the forest go dry. So earlier, nobody had to provide water. The water was a self-sustaining system within the forest. But now the groundwater is drying up. So the animals in summer, it becomes a do or die situation. They actually migrate outside the forest in search of water to get this drinking water. And that results in the conflict, much undesirable conflict with humans. So especially when there is also lack of food, water means there, if there is no water, it means grassland management cannot be done by the department because there is no water. When there is no grass or fodder for the herbivores, they go out and do even crop raiding, not just water, even their food source goes outside the forest. When the
yeah.
herbivores go outside the forest, obviously their predator, the carnivores, follow. And then there is huge conflict situation, which there is fatality on both sides. Both the
Mm,
predators and the human lives are lost in this conflict. So we realize that if we want to provide water, what started as a form of compassion, I must admit, it did come as a, it was based on compassion, but soon we realized, no, this is definitely going to be a means to mitigate human wildlife conflict and prevent human wildlife conflict. And over the years, since 2014, I realized that I had an activism side to me from 2014, and I realized that I wanted to do everything I could to mitigate human wildlife conflict. I did
mm,
try the legal process, but as we all know, the legal process is quite delayed and protracted and takes a long time for the changes to happen. So I said, let me do something actively, which is why I decided, let me go to the grassroots level and provide water. And through the solar energy, what we do is we use solar pump sets.
mhm.
Instead of the electrical pump set, let's say we use in our homes in urban areas, we use solar powered pump sets. They are submerged in the borewell or tube well, and
Mhm.
water is drawn up through that solar energy, and water is then supplied to different water bodies on the ground through underground pipelines. I
Oh, so you
always
put
like
all the
to.
pipelines, is it? Is it you put all the pipelines as well? Wow.
Sometimes we have laid pipelines worth 2.5 kilometers to supply water to a water body that far away, because
Mm,
it would mean otherwise you would have to provide water to those animals there. We would have to drill another borewell, which is very eco-friendly, as we all know, and I don't want that. So I rather that we put underground pipelines and provide water to the water body even there, 2.5 kilometers away. In Panna, in a site called BBC Camp, we have laid 4 kilometers of pipeline just to provide water to an anti-poaching chowki. Just 4 kilometers of pipeline.
That's
because those
fantastic.
poor staff, yeah, those poor staff used to struggle. They would come on a bicycle with two empty cans to fill water, this 4 kilometer to the other chowki, fill water, walk back with those two cans, and do this at least 2 3 times in a day. How much water can you carry in two tanks,
Yeah, yeah,
jars, in a bicycle? So we wanted
yes.
to ease their life a bit and boost their morale.
Hmm. So the one question which is coming to my mind, Sarita, is that doesn't doing taking out water through solar pumps decrease the level of water on in the under the earth? Doesn't it lead to that?
Yes, now I that's a very touchy question,
Yeah.
but the answer, the
Mm.
fact is yes, it does. But it is all done because of what we humans have done outside of the forest. Water scarcity is, like I told you, the elephant in the room. It is huge inside the forest. How do we provide water for animals or the anti-poaching chowkies in this emergency situation? We are right now in critical mode, and what we are providing is only an emergency solution. It is like a patient has had a cardiac arrest, he is lying in the ICU. We can do CPR and all other treatment that we want, but the long term post recovery and the medication and the prevention, let's say he's a smoker, to give
Mm.
him all the
Mm.
gyan about not smoking and all, happens later. Similarly,
Mm.
what we are doing is purely on a critical emergency mode. The animals need water now. How do we provide water now? All the rest that follows, the policy changes, the mindset of the people need to change, that we cannot garner all the resources of the planet exclusively for humans. We live in one planet, we have to share it, but that's not how it's happening. But all that is long drawn out. The animal needs water now. What do we do now to give water?
Mm.
Secondly, as far as possible, we look for a perennial water source in the forest. If it could be a river, a lake, or a spring, or a waterfall, wherever possible, we have always submerged our solar pump in these perennial bodies. But that's
Okay.
not the fact of the matter. Truth is that forest department has already done several bore wells, simply understanding the need for water inside the forest, and we
Mm.
are just doing that emergency situation. So unless we humans stop over extraction of water outside the forest, if
Mm.
we even reduce it, I'm sure the aquifers inside the forest will regenerate because of the abundance of trees, the carbon sequestration that happens inside the forest. The aquifers will revitalize itself. We are not allowing that right now.
Have a long-term solution for water situation. Basically, it has to be twofold, is what I'm understanding from you. That
Yes,
one,
yes.
that there is a awareness amongst the locals or the visitors who are visiting in the area, that thing, and also some policy changes happen, which can really take care of this in a long-term basis, is my
Yes.
understanding, and that's how
Yes, and
we
also,
tackled it.
let's not put the burden only on the local stakeholders.
You
Each
know,
one of us,
yeah.
whether we are living in Mumbai, the water comes from Tansa, which is like, maybe even 100 kilometers away, but it's coming through pipelines and all. So even if we can reduce our, carbon footprint here, it will
Hmm.
help in the forest. We don't need to
Yeah.
drill bore wells then. We just minimize our need, so to say.
Not just to say it, but live by it, walk the talk. That we are very passionate, we talk about it, and when we go back to our lives, we are doing the same old thing. I mean, we continue to do the same old thing. So I think the change needs to happen at that attitude level. That's very important that we do it. But that's a
And we
larger
need to do
picture.
it now.
Yeah,
We need to do it
exactly.
now.
Yeah,
Time is running
now,
out.
there's no other time. Time is running out. I'm totally,
Absolutely.
totally with you. So tell me, in this
Yes.
journey of yours, what are the challenges that you've faced? I mean, I'm sure it's not been an easy route to follow. But I mean, it must have been full of. So what are the one big challenge you feel that you are really stuck about and you can't make a headway towards?
See, the biggest challenge which we face is obviously like what every other NGO faces, is about fundraising. But nowadays, I also see that there are many other corporates who started their own foundation. They
Yeah.
don't seem to be having the struggle that the broader NGO world has. They are well
Mm.
funded through their corporate CSRs.
Mm.
So I would say that there needs to be some demarcation first to say which is an organization which is like a self-funded or another form of foundation, and the corporate CSR. So when you bunch them all together, we are not able to compete with the giants. We are just Davids of the world. So we are constantly struggling for raising funds. Now probably CSR, there are many companies who support through CSR too, but it is so little, because most of the CSR is again attribute given only for human beings. Most of the projects, you look at it, whether it is education, whether it is girl empowerment, women empowerment, even if it is solar, even if it is environment friendly, it will be sapling plantation. I don't think afforestation is tree plantation. We just plant saplings and more or less forget about it. But even if it is watershed, then it will be for humans. We
Mm.
rarely consider any of this needs to be done in the forest too. We are making infrastructure projects in our forest. We are diverting it for other purposes, denotifying land. All this is a challenge. And while I did try the legal route to try and get some mitigation done, it's a tardy process, so it's not going to happen. So convincing even the corporates that please support us so that we can work in the forest, and not just one state, or plus the CSR teams have this mindset that we will there beyond the fence. When they say, oh, we are going beyond the fence, is they have a limitation of 50 kilometers or 100 kilometers. So they will work if their mine is there, or their polluting factory is there in a particular part, they will work only in the 50-kilometer region. But it
Okay.
should be so much so that if there is a forest cut, if a tree is being cut in Kachi Bauli, that happened in Telangana, it should affect us too. We can't live in silos like this. So convincing people, or also making people understand there is a water scarcity. Most people don't even think. Their image is flowing rivers, gushing streams, waterfalls. Aisa nahi hai forest mein. It's no longer like that. Maybe once upon a time in a primordial age it was like that, but it's not.
Mm.
So that's the biggest challenge, that people are not even aware that there
Mm.
is a scarcity and there is a need, exigent need to address that issue. As a policy, we need to have that change. And everything else that follows, the challenge of rallying people around to see that, look, please find solutions for the problem in the forest. Lastly, I think what we personally, our NGO is struggling, is getting utilization and impact data from the forest. So while we are collaborating with the forest, we are obviously helping the forest department where they are not getting, let's say, the funds from the government and such, because most people think, forest department, why don't they supply the water? It's their job.
I mean, also the thing is that they have so much in hand also, that.
Yeah, but people don't realize that
Mm.
when the government does something, has policies, there are departments allocated for women empowerment, child education, and everything else. And still, when people don't get what they want, that lacuna, that gap is filled by NGOs, right? We are
Correct,
doing the
correct.
same. Wherever the
Yeah,
forest
yeah.
department is not able to do, we are collaborating with them. But
Mm.
unfortunately, the restrictive nature of the work, they are that this is in a forested area. It's not an area I can just walk into. We need permission from the forest department for everything that we do inside the forest. We are
Mm.
not getting adequate support, I would say. This is very frank. I don't think we are getting adequate support from the department to show our donors, okay, look, this is the kind of impact we have made. This is, you see the number of water bodies we have filled, number of sites we have done across the country. So if a small mid-sized NGO like Earth Brigade Foundation can do this, please, more and more people are welcome to come and do at a larger scale. if we have done 189, the need is probably 18,900 or maybe even 1,89,000. That's the need
Yeah,
inside our forests.
yeah, yeah.
These are like multiple challenges.
I'm sure. I mean, it's not easy task to take on, and
Yeah.
you championing you becoming a champion in it. So that itself is great and tremendous work being done. So tell me, in which all forest and what is your like footprint in? You've done many. How many installations would you have done, and what is your footprint like?
Since 2018 January, we have done 189 installations, close to 200 installations in 28 different forests with different topography, terrain, landscape, and requirements. Out of the 28 forests, 21 are tiger-dominated landscapes.
Wow,
And we
wow.
have worked in 7 different states: Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. Next month,
That's
we'll also be
fantastic.
going to
Yeah.
Chhattisgarh.
That's fantastic. Many congratulations to
Thank you.
you for this. So, okay, so looking ahead, what do you envision? How do you want to scale up Earth Brigade Foundations across the Indian forest, and what are your plans going forward?
So we would like to definitely reach out to more people to, align with us, collaborate with us, because as I explained earlier, the need is really there for us providing the solar installations. As of now, that is the best way. If we can think of maybe better minds come together and think of even more renewable method, even more sustainable method. So far we address 4 SDGs, United Nations sustainability goals.
Development goals.
So we would, if possible, we would like to do more. Of course, we have shown with these 189 installations that it is definitely a scalable and replicable model. So
Mhm.
I urge these bigger corporate foundations to come, because they are, flush with funds. They can definitely try and help our natural heritage, retain our natural heritage much better than, small NGOs like us. We, of course, are fully prepared to go, head on to serve as many forests as we can.
That's absolutely a brilliant story to hear. And I mean, I'm feeling so proud of the work that you are doing, trying to make a difference where you are. And how you have that heart to really go out and do more and more. I mean, that's, I think, the true Indian spirit which is there.
Yeah.
And I feel proud, really feel proud of you, Sarita. That's really
Thank you.
fantastic. So is there any message that you would like to give to the generation ahead, or any message to our audience that you would like to give?
At the basic level, it would be that if I can do it, anyone can do it. I have had some medical condition. I had mobility issues and all that. And with those issues is what I managed to do all these installations. Obviously, I think or my husband and I, we are not the only ones who have managed to do this. There were many, many people who rallied behind us, the forest officials who supported us wholeheartedly, and we never had to struggle for permissions or anything like that. And also the friends who rallied on behalf of Earth Brigade Foundation and got us the funds or helped in any which way they could manage to help us. If we can do this, if ordinary people like us without any wildlife conservation background or a wildlife biology background, I think I would urge more and more people to participate in wildlife conservation. As far as possible, look for NGOs who work, I would say, this is because it's my personal learning, work with NGOs who are working on the ground inside the forest. But if you feel you want to do more of advocacy, please, there is such a huge need for that. Nobody is even talking about the scarcity of forests. So please rally behind campaigners. If you feel you want to have a more active role, please join like the Kachi Bauli supporters, who went all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court even castigated the authorities for doing what they for cutting the trees. And I think it's a landmark decision. So we should, if you want to take the legal route, please go ahead and do. Every citizen is empowered to take the PIL route in our country. That is something really amazing. So do that. At a personal level, suppose you can't do any of this, just shut off the tap, shut off the lights that you don't need. Even if you can't do anything, like in our house where we are right now, we have not cut a single tree to make this house. So our bathroom, master bathroom, has a jackfruit tree inside it. So we have not cut the jackfruit tree. Some chiku trees are there in another sit-out area. We have not cut the trees even when we build the house. Not There is no new wood that we have used in our farm. Everything is old recycled wood. So there is so much we can do. Everybody can do their bit.
I quite agree with you, and I feel, I mean, be the difference where you are. I think
Yes.
this should be the motto that we should
Yeah. Yes.
really ingrain in our life and walk the talk of that, So first, to have that mind, of course, to be the difference, understand the complexities the world and the countries are facing today, the biodiversity and the life as such is facing, bringing in the world
Yeah.
and bringing in the word of camaraderie, compassion, all these things will lead us to feel better, create better
Yeah.
worlds. I think that
Yeah.
with that, I'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. And I hope on the Tigers Day today, we can really pledge to be the difference we want to see the world to be. Yeah. So thank you so very,
Yeah.
very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Ritu. Thanks to TOFT Tigers.
Yes. Thank you.